Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Lazer Grand Arena 2026. We've had an exciting day of matches so far with a lot of matches done and a lot to go as we finish up the round of 32 today. Starting now with another matchup here between alfiu and RyooYamada. I'm Dio, and joining me for this match is going to be the one and only Lazer. How's it going, man?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm excited. This is going to be one of the last round of 32 matches, as you said, and it's a pretty interesting one here. These two players, I think, have very interesting stories. alfiu been very much on the come up over the past year, as mostly an all-rounder for the most part, but with some specific skill sets that we're maybe hoping to see. And RyooYamada as well, kind of making a name for himself for mostly speed-related skill sets, right? A lot of like really strong proficiency when it comes to tapping and all that type of thing. So we'll have to see how they match up today. We'll get quickly into bans. And actually, I guess we have seen a couple of them already. Okay, so we've seen Nomad 5 protected as well from RyooYamada, which I think is expected.
Yeah. I think especially after the DT2 ban for alfiu, and of course the hidden 3 ban for RyooYamada, I think the hidden 2 protect for alfiu makes a lot of sense. If you're new to LGA, we do have protects in this tournament. Protects are a way of preventing the other player from banning a map, and also preserving that pick just for yourself. So only the player who protects a map is allowed to pick it later on into the match. We do see a Nomad 4 ban coming out from RyooYamada as well. Had a lot of really good scores on the Nomad 1, Nomad 2 in the qualifiers in particular. Less so on some of the speedier maps in the pool, but some very, very good scores on those first 2 maps.
Yeah, and Stress Test going to be protected. I'm glad that map is popular. I think it's been played in nearly every single match so far. I'm happy with that, as I mean, the song is such a banger. I'm glad to hear it one more time, hopefully.
Yeah, that's a fun one. There's a couple of well, honestly, a lot of maps that are similar to that, but that kind of genre is funky to find for I think a lot of usable maps. So I've been enjoying watching that pick as well. And we do already have our first pick. It is going to be Nomad 1 for alfiu. Pick ban order is the same in every LGA match. The higher seeded player gets that first pick every time, whereas the lower seeded player gets second pick within the first set. And then in our second set, the pick order will swap. Alex, do you want to explain what sets are, just in case there's any people tuning in for the first time this Saturday?
Sure thing. I guess it's round of 32, but I'll do this for the third time.
I love LGA explanations.
I mean, it's worth it. There's a lot of people kind of tuning in, and not everyone's going to catch all the games, so maybe someone's just now waking up and realizing this tournament's a thing. So yeah, I mean, this format is a little bit weird. We're using essentially 2 maps to represent 1 point, and the factor that determines who gets that 1 point is just the difference between the cumulative score on those 2 maps. So it introduces a lot of very interesting strategy where, depending on how hard you might be winning a pick or losing a pick, it might affect what you end up choosing as the second map of that set. We've seen some people kind of throw away maps if the set is pretty much guaranteed to be lost, right? You can kind of pick a map that your opponent is going to be strong at and effectively use it as a ban while only losing 1 point for it. So there's a lot of very unique nuances to this format specifically that we've been seeing and enjoying a lot of. And I think this time around this year, people are a lot more familiar with it. This is pretty much an identical format to what it was last year, where we did see a couple people not really fully grasp how to play with it. But I think now that there was an entire tournament played on that format, it's a lot friendlier now. I think people have been using their strategy a lot in a much wiser manner this time around.
And during all that explanation, we did see 1 miss come through for alfiu. It's not as big a deal on Lazer as Again, a lot more of a focus on accuracy with laser scoring as compared to combo, but it will still impact the score, and there's a traded couple of misses out from RyooYamada as well, so right now the score lead just kind of going back a little bit the way of alfiu. Accuracy pretty even between the two of them, and so the little extra combo that alfiu has should bring this back to pretty much even between these two players. And yeah, last year there were some players who got really heavily punished for not thinking deeply about the strategy beforehand and learning very quickly the hard way during matches that, oh, the strategy actually matters for these sets in a lot of ways. And I think this year the second iteration has been much more successful with getting people to think about the strategy behind a lot of these picks. So I've been really happy with that because it's something that we talked a lot about while casting last year that honestly we didn't see, I think, as much of as a lot of us wanted to.
Yeah. Even though we're still only kind of in round of 32, so a lot of the matches are quite one-sided so far. There hasn't been a match that went to the 5th set yet. So hoping to see that start to happen a little bit soon. I think there were maybe only 2 or 3 matches that were 3-1 so far, although some of those were a little bit closer than the scoreline might indicate. So yeah, I mean, while talking about that, this map has been going on for almost 3 minutes here. This is such a long one, you know. It's over 5 minutes of really, really consistent aim. This has been a really popular pick, surprisingly. I think people are looking at this map to, if they think they have a stronger like aim consistency on a very high skill cap level like this. This has been working out pretty well.
Yeah, and I think as a first pick for alfiu, I'm not sure if I like it, because clearly RyooYamada is fine on this map, right? It is a 10k score difference 3.5 minutes into the map. Sorry, 12k, my bad. But it's really not all that much for a first pick for alfiu here. And this is his first pick against a player who is known to be a mechanics main, right? Who had, as we talked about before the start of the match, kind of a reputation for speedy maps, and who during qualifiers set his best placement scores on the Nomad 1 and 2. So I think RyooYamada's pretty happy with this first pick from alfiu so far, as this score difference is just not all that big at the moment, and only a minute left in the map. There's a miss finally for RyooYamada. alfiu, I guess, just doing some grip readjustment during the spinner, but not punished for it with that miss coming out right after the spinner.
I mean, that's a very subtle laser difference. I don't know if that was an intentional thing from him, but laser spinner scores are capped. They're very small representation of your score compared to stable. So I guess you can take that time to chill your aim a little bit, yeah. Maybe it pays off, because I mean, RyooYamada didn't and got caught immediately when that pattern started, which I think is pretty notorious as a pattern. Like right after the break, kind of sends you full speed into it, into pretty much the hardest part of the map. But some struggles here at the end as the map gets a little bit harder. We haven't really seen too many people do well on this. I think we saw Box on his match FC Descending, but outside of that, I don't think we've actually seen anybody else manage to hold all the way through it.
Yeah, and you know what was a 12k score lead before that spinner started is now an almost 50k score lead, as alfiu is just far more comfortable on this ending. RyooYamada also finding lots of misses, and the miss count has ballooned for both players, but it's just a better difference in comfort for alfiu, and now up above 50k, which on Lazer starts to become a bit of a problem. Once you're above 50k in a 1v1 on Lazer, that starts to be a somewhat significant score difference, especially with that accuracy, 99.2% for alfiu, looking very, very solid on that map.
Yeah, it is definitely not too big of a score difference, though. We regularly have seen, you know, a couple 100,000 as differences on this. Maybe not this map in particular. This map has been pretty close when it's been played, but definitely not an impossible gap to overcome. And RyooYamada picking microwave. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Are you confused? I'm a little confused. Just a bit.
I mean, let me see something. Like, I'm interested now.
Yeah,
not the player I would expect to pick this. Maybe, well, okay, to be fair, maybe he thinks 58k is hard to come back from, even though I think it's pretty reasonable to come back from. Maybe using this as a throwaway. It's an option. Maybe he's just really good at this kind of thing, and we're not aware of it. That's another option.
I mean, RyooYamada is also somewhat of an all-rounder, right? Like, in especially North American tournaments, does play basically everything for the teams that he is a part of. So wouldn't surprise me if he is actually just really good on this map, especially because this map in particular has been used and overused again, and then thrown away for a couple of years, and then brought back from the dead, grave robbed, to be overused like a third and fourth and fifth time, with varying difficulties as well, like the metadata edit USA tryouts difficulty. So wouldn't surprise me if both of these players have way too much experience on this map in particular.
I think we've seen that one a lot more than the actual main map of it, because this was just so hard for so long. But I guess in a 1v1 tournament like this, where this pool is pretty difficult already. I mean, for being the week 1 pool, I think like this is a 7.6 pool, which is quite harder. And yeah, I mean, this is working out quite well. Map just started, already 82k in the lead. I thought alfiu could do pretty okay on this, but maybe a well-researched pick here for RyooYamada.
USA players have an inherent bias on this map, with there being a literal USA tryouts diff. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's just too good for the Americans. Who knows?
Yeah, gotta say though, that other diff has been very nice to learn this map on, because it's a lot more playable. Like, I think if you've played the other one and you know you've already memorized the rhythm and stuff, this one just immediately becomes a lot more playable. So
absolutely,
maybe unironically a buff, like if you've played the other one in a tourney before. But I mean, this is a slam dunk pick.
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to comment a little bit. This score is actually really, really good for RyooYamada. 240,000 score lead, 97.5 accuracy to 89 from alfiu. 5 misses to 33. Just absolutely demolishing with the first pick there. And RyooYamada, seed 28, going up 1-0 to start the match over alfiu, seed number 5 out of qualifiers. Not the way that I expected it, if I'm going to be honest, especially on a map like that. RyooYamada really showing up and flexing the muscles a little bit on some skill sets he's not particularly well known for.
I'm going to look into this real quick, but I think this is one of the higher scores we've seen.
I would not be surprised.
If the Dorgoose got 734k earlier, I don't know if there's any higher score than that. I haven't personally seen a higher one than that. So yeah, I mean, extremely solid performance there, honestly. That kind of shocks me a little bit. I was not aware of his game.
No,
gotta be honest.
That was really solid. We do get the next pick from RyooYamada to come up as well. Unfortunately for him, there's not really anything else like that in the pool. I feel like now, while you're up a set against a player who is way, way higher seeded than you, is probably a good time to just use your protect and set yourself up for a big score difference and potential success in the second set.
Yeah, that would be a good mental buff. I mean, this being single elim early on, if you're seed number 5 and you're potentially going down 0-2 on your first match, right? That's gotta play a number on your head. So we'll see if he's looking into that. But no, we're gonna go into DT1, a bit of a speed hybrid here. So we're seeing DT, but this is only a 1.2 times map. we've been able to do some funny things with rate changes pulling this tourney, so I guess this is one of them. I think this has also been quite a popular pick, actually. I'm noticing more and more as we see more of these matches being played out that there's a pretty big discrepancy on this pool. Some maps tend to be a lot more popular than other ones, I feel. There's still a couple maps we haven't really seen too much of. I think DT2, Nomad 3, and Hidden 1, we have not really seen more than once, I think. Or twice, I think, in the case of Nomad 3. This one we've seen quite frequently as well. And I mean, looking at this, I wouldn't really count on alfiu on this. Definitely able to keep up a little bit, but Maybe the speed was a little bit too much, but definitely a good pick in the favor for RyooYamada here, hopefully. Looking to get a solid lead going into the second set.
I mean, I think for a pick like this, with this level of mechanics, alfiu will be able to keep up. And clearly is doing so far, right? 2 100s for both players, and actually the first miss to come out from RyooYamada instead of from alfiu. So right now, this is looking a little bit better for alfiu. Does drop one more 100, but it is matched by RyooYamada. And at the moment, it's just the combo difference doing all of the work right now. Accuracy pretty much the same for both of these players, ever so slightly in favor of alfiu by 1 100 and 1 miss. Make that just the 1 miss, as now we come into another jump section with some of these longer streams to boot. Nobody missing on any of the back and forth slider jumps, and now we get into just more aim. This is a very much a hybrid pick where you have a ton of longer streams and bursts, but there's finally the miss to come out from alfiu. Actually chain misses, or chain hundreds a burst and finds a miss at the same time. RyooYamada now needs to hold this combo for a while to bring this back though, and there's only so much map left.
Gonna go back over a little bit quickly here, but about 15 seconds left on this pick, I think should hopefully give them a little bit of time to build up a lead here, preparing for the other pick that's coming his way afterwards. But yeah, as we wrap up, only the 1 miss at the start to be found, but both of these scores are really good. Very, very impressive, honestly. 34,000 going to be the difference on this one. And yeah, I mean, RyooYamada basically SS'd like 3/4 of the map, no? Like he started this with 500s and a miss. We just added these counters for this match, by the way, which is kind of nice to have on Lazer built in. Yeah, just SS the remainder of the map. So managed to hold on as best as one possibly can. alfiu going to be answering with second warning, some Hard Rock Tech, which I think is a pick that I would probably favor alfiu in pretty solidly. Pretty solidly on this one. 34,000 I think is going to be a very reasonable gap to overcome on this one to get his first point.
Yeah, I think this is a very, very good pick for alfiu. A very solid Hard Rock player, number 1. Number 2, a very, very good tech player as an all-rounder. RyooYamada, Nomad 4 in this pool is not necessarily tech, but I think the closest thing you could ban without just straight up banning the slider map like this. So likely not to be quite as comfortable here. I am kind of waiting for alfiu to pick into some of the hiddens against RyooYamada, but I think with only a 34k score difference, a map like this works very well for this set.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's, I think, a pretty clear difference in general comfort so far. A couple of extra slider breaks coming through for RyooYamada. That's where a lot of the accuracy drops are coming from as well.
Surprisingly, seen this one played quite a lot as well. I think this is one of those maps where Lazer makes this a little bit more comfortable to play with, you know, slider end leniency and all that. So it's a map that becomes mostly just about the flow aim for the most part for a lot of people. So a little bit comfier than what the players might be expecting. If, you know, this were to be played in a stable tourney, which I'm sure it has a billion times. Maybe not with a Hard Rock though. It is a fairly common map.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty well-known map at this point in the tournament community, so not too surprising to see both of these players honestly be pretty comfortable with this map. RyooYamada 97.4 accuracy is still quite good, just not quite on the level of the 5 100s make that 6, 2 50s and 2 misses from alfiu, 98.6 ac. Looking very, very strong, but not a huge score lead. It's only 60k. This is definitely still within touching distance for RyooYamada. If he locks in on this second half, or I guess this last third or so of the map, last minute we go, he can definitely still pull this back. So alfiu really needs to hold on in order to take this set and tie things up.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a little bit close here, but going to be dropping the combo at the end, and alfiu is still holding, and with the 34,000 wall there being completely cleared, it's not even in the picture anymore. We're over 100,000 on the other way, so good pick for alfiu there. Even with the little bit of the map left at the end, I mean, holding on really strong here.
I mean, I think alfiu and RyooYamada just did the same thing on their own picks. Have a little bit less of a solid time in the first half, and then just absolutely lock in when it matters in the back half of the map. The last minute here, alfiu has not even dropped a 100. Has kept it at 15, 2, and 2 this entire time. The accuracy going up at this point, and that's really something during the hardest parts of the map. So very solid ending there for alfiu. 186k in his favor on that map. Makes it 150k in his favor on the set overall, and ties us up 1-1. When are we seeing these protects, I wonder?
Yeah, we've regularly been seeing people hold on to their protects when they actually need them. The first couple sets are kind of just warm-ups for the most part. But yeah, still they're present in the pool. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they both hold on to the protects for one more set as well, since they both it's 1-1 now. They still have a set to go for safety. alfiu going to be finding the next pick here. I mean, there's not a lot of maps in this that maybe hidden one would be pretty good for alfiu, I would say. Outside of the protect, obviously.
I'm pretty sure he cannot pick the original, right? That is reserved for the 5th set, so that is not a pickable map.
Yeah, that is, for all intents and purposes, just a tiebreaker. The 2-minute length one. Gonna go more hard rock though. Okay, interesting. I mean, that one went pretty well. We're gonna go with some precision, which is also, this map has been played a lot more than I thought it would actually. This is some real precision. like it's pretty uncomfortable, despite the map being pretty straightforward. Just the CS is so high on this.
Yeah, CS 7.8, but it is, 140 BPM, more so aim control than lots of high spacing, low BPM jumps that tend to find their way into a lot of hyper precision maps like this. So I think the fact that it is a little bit more aim control focused really helps out with making it a bit more accessible, because I think that is the more accessible of those two kind of hyper precision skill sets for a lot of players. Plus, when it is hyper precision like this, there's players who really want to abuse that in most tournaments, I've found.
Yeah. Well, all in all, it's a very short one. Under 2 minutes, this map. It's kind of been interesting to watch this one, because there's not really a specific, part or anything to watch out for. It's very consistent. There's a lot of just pretty brutal snaps on this that you might not be expecting, throughout the entire map. Such as that one. And you're going to be finding the first miss here, but not out of the picture quite yet.
Yeah, alfiu did find a miss right at the start as well, so it's not as bad for you, RyooYamada, but a second miss to come through, and the axe drops as well, and the score lead has already gotten up to 50k or so. alfiu not ahead by a ton, but definitely happy with this so far. And another miss-aim on the cut streams there for RyooYamada, and alfiu just holding on to this reverse choke, no problems. Halfway into the map now, does finally find another set of misses, but only 100 combo for RyooYamada. It's not really all that big a deal to find those misses there if you are alfiu. Accuracy and miscount still staying pretty much even at this point for both these players, and so the score lead is going to stay put at about 80k in favor of alfiu. But if he keeps finding these misses in the back half, this can start to go back the way of RyooYamada, and suddenly this set becomes a lot closer. That said, more act drops, more misses for RyooYamada, and alfiu, despite having a bit of a tough time in the second half of this map, looks like is going to be able to keep a lot of this score lead.
A lot of these maps have actually been surprisingly close, considering this is, keep in mind, seed 5 versus 28 here. RyooYamada holding on pretty solidly across a multitude of different skill sets here, which is kind of impressive. And now you have to wonder if this is enough of a score deficit to warrant pulling out the protect. Might be seeing the No Mod 5 here. Yep. Okay. I think it's a threatening lead enough. Might as well use it now while you can. Although I don't know if this I don't know if this is that much in favor of RyooYamada here. I think this one, like, alfiu can definitely keep up on this. Maybe not until the very end though, because this does end up at 280 BPM, like with the speed still going on. So it gets pretty brutal. But we have seen a lot of people be able to keep up on it. Even, you know, some people that you might not even consider to be known as speed players necessarily. It's still somehow remained a fairly accessible pick, this one. So hopefully Ryu able to find that speed advantage that he's looking for on this.
We saw on the DT1 that as the map went on, that's where RyooYamada really started to shine. So it might be a matter less of kind of the raw speed and a matter of the stamina a little bit. And for a map like this that is 3 minutes long, that does increase in BPM as the map goes on and comes into its end, I think that is a pretty good prospect for RyooYamada. Starting off, both players holding onto the FC, slight ACK lead in favor of RyooYamada by 3 100s, but the score lead very, very small at this point as we continue on into the map. This one, as you said, Lazer, it's not necessarily pure speed. It's a lot of tapping control. It's a lot of other stuff going on at the same time, but it is still primarily that speed, and if you don't have it, you will not be able to keep up. Finally, a couple more hundreds dropped for RyooYamada, one extra dropped for alfiu, and they are tied up in the accuracy as alfiu drops one more 100. There's really not much to write home about, though, at this point as the first speed up section comes through.
Interesting, very tiny difference here, because you look at the ACK counters. The alfiu actually has a higher ACK with one more 100, because slider ends, if you drop slider ends on Lazer now, it doesn't actually count as 100. It still drops your ACK, but it doesn't physically show as 100 anymore. It just shows as a slider end drop on the result screen. So alfiu finally going to find, I guess, what is a slider break on this one. So I'm not going to be able to find a little bit of a lead as we get into probably the harder part of the maps here. It's slowly speeding up still. I think we're now at 260. It's still going to keep speeding up. And so the longer this combo is able to be kept here, the stronger this benefit is going to be in Ryu's favor. But I mean, at this point, you just got to get over 74,000. Like, it is the second map in this set, so anything more than this just already kind of secured the point.
So far, so good for RyooYamada, but over-aims the start of a burst there, and that is going to be a miss for RyooYamada, saved by the lack of note lock, actually. That could have been really devastating on stable, but it is going to be a clean miss on Lazer instead. alfiu has the combo lead, but is behind, well, actually pretty much even on the accuracy with all those drop slider ends, as you were saying. So this score lead is starting to come back a little bit, but does find another combo drop for himself, and RyooYamada back in control does find another miss of his own, or a slider break rather. As both
it's kind of getting close. Hold on.
Oh, big ACK drop for RyooYamada coming into the ending. Wait a second, 82k the score lead, and it's only 74k the difference needed for RyooYamada to win this set. Is there any patterning here at the end? I don't think there's gonna be. It is by just a hair, by 6k over what was needed, but RyooYamada does make it happen with the protected No Mod 5.
I guess it works out, but I mean, damn, that's as close as it gets. That's really scary. I mean, alfiu managed to recover pretty well after the early miss there, but yeah, you saw how much the lead drop just from the ACK drop, one singular like major ACK drop on the long 280 stream at the end. It's gonna make this probably a little bit closer than they would have liked, but I mean, RyooYamada now up a set 2-1 against seed number 5. That's kind of crazy. This is potentially maybe the biggest upset, or the closest match so far we're going to see. It's all going to depend on how this next one goes. alfiu now kind of back against the wall, however still has the protect, so maybe okay here. We're going to be seeing No Mod 3, some good old pedal snap alt. Can't go wrong with that.
No, and I'm just thinking about the last set. What else would be left if we do get to that last set? I think there's always going to be a hidden left, so there's always a solid pick for alfiu. I don't know if this DT3 is better for one of these players or the other. Regardless, yeah, a little bit of snap ult here for RyooYamada to start things off. And I think probably a solid pick at this point. You've still got the Protect open for alfiu. I think the hope is to get alfiu to use the Protect now so that he doesn't have it for the final set.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is where the strategy parts of the LGA format really starts to show itself. This is, to me personally, when the matches get the most interesting. Because you really have to start thinking ahead here. If you're alfiu in this position, or honestly if you're both players in this position, you have to consider the 5th set and how you're going to get there and the maps that you're going to have available to play in that set. It's not just about winning this one, right? So alfiu needs to win this set right now to keep going. But if you're up 2-1 in sets here, so if you're in RyooYamada's shoes, and you have a couple picks that you're not super confident on, sometimes it might be a smarter decision, especially when alfiu still has his Protect open, able to be picked. It might be a better decision to leave your stronger picks up for the last set, actually, the next one. So there's a lot of nuance with the strategy for exactly this type of moment that can pop up here. So even though this is RyooYamada's pick, I think if he understands that part of the format, this is possible that this is not necessarily one of his strongest remaining picks, and he could be just saving that DT3 if he's confident on it, or perhaps even that hidden 1 if he's confident on it. Maybe not against alfiu, but like there's still a couple of other maps left. I think there's Hard Rock 1 open as well. That could be a potential pick as well. At this point, it's a little hard to figure out which of these maps are advantage for who, because I mean, RyooYamada's, I think, playing extremely well. Way more than I think you'd expect a 28th seed to be playing. So I wonder if alfiu's kind of shaking in his boots a little bit right now, but so far so good. No breaks. Oh, they both broke on the same object, I believe. But still pretty much even. Situation gets a little bit tricky, yeah. Because
this is now really, really close between the two of them. And I think that makes the last pick here or the next pick here for alfiu also really hard if we get a score lead like this, right? Like, okay, I only need to win by 3k. What do I pick to win by like 10k so that I'm in the clear and I keep my Protect for the 5th set? Can you actually do that and pick something that you win by just a little bit instead of a lot going into the last pick of this set, or the second pick of this set? Another couple of misses to come out for alfiu, so that 3k has now ballooned into 30k for RyooYamada, continuing to hold combo here during the end. Both these players really love just locking in on the end of their own picks and ballooning up a score lead going into the end of the map. It's not going to be a huge balloon. It is only 42k for RyooYamada, but it is going to be enough where alfiu now has to consider getting a solid pick in, and it is just going to be the Protect
instantly. I mean, you kind of have to, right? Like, if that's your strongest remaining pick, I think this is enough of a lead, and RyooYamada's been showing up on way more of these picks than alfiu probably expected him to, that I think you just have to play it safe here. You cannot afford to hold on to your Protect. It just has to be picked now. And I mean, we've seen this map a lot. Again, so happy to see it one more time. This one is 5 minutes of pure pump. It's beautiful. But it's definitely a map that would favor alfiu, you would think.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, RyooYamada is just not a hidden player. Like, even for farm, is not a hidden player. Doesn't even use, hidden double time on high AR most of the time. Mm-hmm. And just in general is pretty well known as a non-hidden player. So I think this is going to be pretty solid for alfiu. That does not mean that every non-hidden player cannot play hidden. I think he can, but just that the comfort level is going to be pretty well in favor of alfiu on something like this.
I mean, there's been a lot of surprises so far. We could be seeing one more.
We definitely could. I mean, look, RyooYamada is a very, very good player, and this pool is easy enough where I think basically everyone who qualified has a shot at doing some serious work on this pool. So that goes for RyooYamada as well as alfiu on any of these maps. Both of them clearly putting up a lot of fantastic scores so far in this map.
Yeah, I think it is worth saying, though, if you're alfiu in this position, I mean, this is pretty much as comfort of a pick as comfort gets. If you're this type of player and you like playing, you know, hidden tech stuff, like this is going to be super comfortable all along the way. There's a couple of cut streams that might, you know, catch you here and there, but you can already definitely see the comfort difference here. Every like strong hidden player in this tourney so far has shown to be extremely comfortable on this. Like we've seen multiple like high 99s on this map with like a miss or two on an unfortunate pattern, and it looks like we might be seeing one more here as alfiu is just not moving at all. And honestly, RyooYamada is keeping up, but again, I think this is probably the one map where you would have to do something crazy to beat a player like alfiu on, especially with, you know, rather despite the 42,000 point difference here. But yeah, we get halfway now, and yeah, I mean, alfiu is just not budged since 300s and a miss still, and all of those were dropped almost 2 minutes ago.
Again, it's not like it's a particularly bad score from RyooYamada. It just does not have the comfort that alfiu has on this. Alfiu very clearly is looking far and away more comfortable, looking super, super clean, and there's not much you can do against a player like that on this map. Does finally find a little bit of an act drop and a miss there on one of the hardest patterns in the map, that really, really long kind of accel decel cut stream pattern in the middle there, but it's not going to matter. The score lead is 140k in alfiu's favor, and he only needs 40k to win this set and go to that fifth and final set between himself and RyooYamada. So looking very, very good for alfiu right now.
Yeah, and I think right on that break too, like you got to see the score difference if he has leaderboard open, right? Like he's seeing that it's not close. We're not even halfway in. He's already got 3 times the score lead needed. So, you know, if there were any nerves about potentially going out early here, I think he at least knows for now that he's got another set to play. So this one should be in the bag. So I think, you know, when it comes to a map like this that's super long, and the hardest part is definitely at the end, where, you know, if you're nervous, it can definitely catch you. But probably not this time around. I think he kind of knows he's done enough.
You know, you can't help but wonder, you know, let's take stock of the score lead here and see if this might have been a necessary map in the last set, because I can't help but wonder what other maps could he have picked that would have been a little bit closer to allow him to save this for the final set. I think obviously you want to play it safe and get the protect out and just win and go to set 5. But hindsight 2020, right? It's worth, I think, thinking about, for if only for the fact that you have to play another match on this exact same pool if you do win.
Closing this one out with more than enough score to get his second point, and I'm happy to see this, as this means we're going to be going to set 5 and going to be seeing the original for the first time being played.
Yeah, this will be our very, very first set 5 in LGA 2026. We have not seen set 5 at all so far during the round of 32. So I am really looking forward to seeing the first set 5. I'm blessed for my first cast here on LGA this year. I hop on the casting desk for my first match, and suddenly we go to set 5. You love to see it.
Definitely not the match you'd expect it on, you know, like seed 5 versus 28. is the first one going to set 5. I think you'd expect one of the closer seeded matches to go the distance, but no, it's going to be this one. And so if you're not familiar with this, which, you know, if you weren't watching last year, you probably haven't seen a set 5 yet. It works a slightly different way. So there are 3 maps the 3 maps in the normal pool remaining to be played here. So we've got Hidden 1, we've got Hard Rock 1, we've got DC3. They've got to pick 2 of those. And there's going to be a 3rd map added onto the set in the same cumulative score, which is the original by Trung Nova, Prism of Chroma. So all 3 of those maps, the score on all 3 following maps is all going to be totaled together to determine the point winner for the last one here. So they've got a 3-map set to go. They've got to figure out which map they leave open, which is a key difference from last year. If you were watching last year, there was 1 less map in the pool. So this final set fully exhausted the pool. So, like, you know, they didn't have a choice in what maps they were playing in this one.
Every map was getting played.
Yeah, this time around they do, so they're going to have a choice to leave this one open. We're going to be seeing Countdown for alfiu, which I think makes sense, as Hidden went exceptionally well for that one. And so after this one, I mean, RyooYamada just got to decide whether he goes for, you know, Hard Rock, like, flow awkward aim, or DT flow awkward aim for the most part. So we'll see how this one goes. And the original, for the most part, this map, I think you could say, is mostly like a tech map. A little bit of aim mechanics. It's like that comfy style of tech that we haven't coined like a fancy term for. It's not mech tech. It's not Squidward or whatever funny terms we may have invented in the OWC cast. Yeah, this is a real term, by the way.
I wasn't there for that. I'm sorry. Complete out of context. Squidward tech mapping. I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna need an explanation.
Yeah, Squidward is like super wacky sliders, you know, like the type that doesn't really make a lot of sense, or that is going a little bit overboard. Like, I don't think this pool really has a Squidward map. Maybe Nomad 4 is close to a Squidward map, not quite. But yeah, anyway. The original is mostly
so
just
unhinged.
Like
all right, sure.
It's like normal. What's a map I can give you an example of? It's something that is like 200% slider aim, you know? And like nothing else. Like that's Squidward.
0 PP Inosu, Nuge Valhalla, I don't know, like...
Sure.
Yeah. Are those Squidward? Is that Squidward mapping? I don't know.
Yeah, somewhat, yeah. But anyway.
Alright. This is not Squidward mapping. This is as SpongeBob as it gets, personally. It's just jumps. Just straightforward, lots of linear right angle jump patterns. And very, very simple mapping for the most part here. Both these players doing pretty well so far, both holding on to really, really high combo. One miss very early on, I suppose, for RyooYamada. It doesn't look like there was a miss looking at the combo, though. No, they both have an FC. I don't know why the miss counter is showing a miss for RyooYamada, but that is just wrong. They have the exact same combo, and they are both on a full combo with a Silver S. That misread is... really, really terrible, though, for RyooYamada. That is unfortunate.
Oh, man. I mean, this is a map, too, that's, like, very straightforward for the most part. It's kind of just aim consistency with a few 230 streams peppered in, which is not a problem for either of these guys. So that miss is pretty brutal, I think, because, I mean, alfiu's looking at an FC here, potentially. And, yeah, all of this score is going to matter, right? It's diluted in one extra map with the original, but... You can't give away too much here. I mean, we've seen situations last year where even going into the original, if people were not like leaving themselves good maps for set 5, we've seen situations where like the tiebreaker was like redundant. Like
yeah, it just
they would go into it with like a 400k score difference, and so it's like it's almost impossible to come back from that in one map. So this score gap is going to matter a lot. Even though alfiu did find a miss finally, so it's going to limit some of the damage, but yeah, if you're RyooYamada here, like, you really can't afford to give too much away on this pick.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think there's been quite a lot given away on this one for RyooYamada, saving a hidden map here for the ending, as alfiu turns out didn't matter whether it was the protected hidden or this hidden one. Either of them would have been fine for this set 5, as this score lead actually continues to grow up towards 200,000 points for alfiu coming into the ending. One miss, 99.3 accuracy. Even despite dropping kind of a chain 100 on those 1/3 streams earlier, it is going to be over a 200,000 score lead for alfiu on his last pick at the start of set 5, and this is now a mountain to climb for RyooYamada.
Yeah, so this is exactly what I was talking about a couple maps ago when it comes to strategy with, how it interacts with set 5. Because if you're RyooYamada here and you can't really play this map, you're at a super deficit in it, right? And that Nomad 3 was relatively close. I mean, RyooYamada could have reasonably won that, or at least he managed to keep up with it. I think if Stress Test was open for that set, kind of swapping your picks around might have been a good decision here, because 200k on set 5 is pretty damn brutal. So if you're able to, put this in the same set that Stress Test would have been in anyway, probably, and having that Nomad 3 for this set here, which was what, like a 40k score difference or something like that, like, you see how it can interact a lot with how set 5 will go. So it's something to always keep in mind as you play through this format, and I think maybe getting an explanation like this will help viewers who might not really get it or like have a lot of exposure to this, kind of understand like the mentality that goes behind this. But Hard Rock 1 going to be the final map, so Chat of Remind is going to be unplayed as we see this map here as Ryu's final pick, followed by the original up next here, and he's got 200k to make up. And I mean, alfiu's looked really good on the other Hard Rock picks, Dio. This is a bit worrying.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier, and I saw, a 735k to 660k on the Hard Rock 2, and 180,000 plus score lead for alfiu on that Hard Rock 3. Yes, this is a much more straightforward sort of Hard Rock pick. It is awkward pattern aim for this Hard Rock 1 as the last pick for RyooYamada. But as we've just seen, alfiu can play aim. This is not a skill set that alfiu is going to be bad at, and it is a mod he seems overall more comfortable with than RyooYamada so far in this match on the day. Now, accuracy looking much better for RyooYamada on this pick than for alfiu, and actually the score in RyooYamada's favor because of that, despite the early miss that he saw right at the start of the map. I really was expecting that DT3, just given how the Nomad 5 went, how the DT1 went. Yes, they're very different styles of maps, but kind of the only thing that we have that you can really compare at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never know how that DT3 could have fared up, but I mean, even though this Hard Rock 1 pick has a little bit of nuance in it, like the timing is a little bit variable here. And some of the aim patterning in some of these parts, like look at this flowing, it's so evil. It's so hard to play this. I mean, these are either some like extreme mastery of like flow aim control, or you are like doing 210 BPM snap like to each and every single object. Right? Like it's pretty tough. Yeah. So this one definitely stands out as a very unique Hard Rock pick. I think a bit different from what people would expect from like a mechanics or like an aim-oriented Hard Rock 1. But I mean, so far I think both players kind of holding on to the same score more or less. It's not too far gone on either side, but could still flip. We're only halfway in, but yeah, this on top of the 229,000 score looming in favor of alfiu here, I think is looking a little bit dire.
Yeah, this is a really interesting thought experiment, but was it maybe better for RyooYamada to first? No, because he couldn't have even first picked the hidden one at the start of the last set, right? Because if you do pick that, then alfiu does not have to pick his protect. He can still save it. So I think the pick order actually had maybe an impact.
That's
right, because
that's
if
part of the
alfiu has
gamble,
first
right?
pick, if alfiu has first pick, he can go his protect, and then RyooYamada can say, okay, you won your protect by 200k. Let's play hidden 1 next and remove that from the 5th set, and now I have a much better chance of winning the 5th set. Here, with this pick order, you actually can't do that. You just have to leave up the hidden 1 and try to win in the 4th set as RyooYamada anyway. So maybe the pick order actually having that sort of an impact on the results of this match is clearly that hidden 1 doing a ton of damage. And this Hard Rock 1, unfortunately, just not the pick for RyooYamada. Did not have other maps really left up in the pool, it seems like, if the DT3 is not comfortable. And unfortunately, the Nomad 3 last pick was already used up before the protect. I mean, even that Nomad 3 would not have done enough to really make things close for the original, but it would at least have been some score in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, all of that is correct. Honestly, it's part of the fun with this strategy difference, I guess, from a usual training format. But even then, I mean, if you're Yamada, like, you could have gambled on the hidden 1 and then hoped that alfiu still picked stress test into it. You don't know, right? Like that would have been a possibility that would have made this set a little bit kinder to RyooYamada, I think. But yeah, it's one of those things. A little bit of like chess warfare going on here. Like it's a lot of strategy. It's a lot of like trying to find any sort of like advantage beyond just actually playing the game, which is always welcome, I think, in a game that's mostly just about playing the game. When it comes to tournaments, there's not often a lot of like deep strategy that's involved. And the screen is going to show up, but it's not over yet. I think that's sorry about that. That's I think that's just meant to it's like an automatic swap. Don't worry about it. It's not over yet.
I think set 5 was not fully implemented, maybe, I don't know. But we are going to get into the original. We do not go to a next pick for alfiu. We do not get DT3. We go to the original. And it is not technically over yet, although unfortunately for RyooYamada, I don't know if you're going to make up 325,000 points in one map.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. We've seen gaps bigger than this, but I don't see it here. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see it here. 300k on alfiu on a aim tech focus pick. I think no matter who you are as the boot player here, I don't think you win that. Like, no, mathematically, it might literally be impossible. Like, alfiu just gets what, 650k, and he wins against anybody. Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough with precision. I mean, I guess we'll at least see the map. which is interesting. It's the first time. I'm pretty happy about the song as well. I mean, Chunglove has been an artist that we've been trying to get into the World Cups in LGA, I guess, like somehow in some way. It's been 3 years now, I think. We finally managed to find something that works here, and so we've got a little bit of I don't even know how you describe this genre. It's very, very interesting. A little bit of like color break core or something, color something. It's a fun one.
Definitely is, and
it's like
I think
color D&B but fast. We'll call it that, because I think this is 202 BPM off the top of my head. We've got a beautiful map here as well from Astral Zynism. Some very fancy slider shapes, but yeah, this is mostly tech. It's hard to get into that.
207 BPM, tech and mechanics, kind of hybrid. A lot of flow aim, a lot of finger control on this map, a lot of slider difficulty, and yeah, kind of an interesting genre. Like, I've seen a lot of maps like this before, or a lot of songs like this before, but it's kind of hard to classify them a lot of times in terms of genre.
Yeah, okay, I think the visual is supposed to be a little bit misleading. It is included in set 5 here, so that point differential, which let's see if we can get that off the top of my head. I don't know if you remember what it was.
It was about 324,000 points in favor of alfiu. So if somehow RyooYamada beats alfiu's score on this map by 324,000 or more, then he will win set 5 and thus the 3rd point for himself and a win in this match. If alfiu just doesn't lose this map by more than 324,000 points, then he will win set 5 due to the 2 wins that he had on both the previous maps, the hidden one and the hard rock one, totaling up to that 324,000 and some change score difference in his favor for this set 5.
Nice, and preference hidden being taken here. I guess some nice extra points.
So far, that hidden mod with a little bit of extra score is actually doing some work for alfiu. Does find a miss there. It is matched by RyooYamada. Both the accuracy and the mod advantage giving alfiu a little bit of a score lead. And I mean, honestly, she's not singing, but the fat lady is walking out on stage right now, man. It's basically over, unfortunately. And that feels terrible to say because we're only a minute into this map, but this is only a 3-minute map. This is not tiebreaker length. It is not a tiebreaker that we are playing. It is a 3rd map and an original song for this 5th set, but this one map cannot win it for RyooYamada, and even then he is unfortunately losing this map as well. So this would be a 3-0 set 5 if alfiu can take this map as well.
I mean, like, another way to look at it, like, no matter what this map even is, if you go into this with that sort of point differential, like, alfiu, I'll say it again, only has to get, what, 650k, 660k, whatever it is?
Yep, about that.
And then it literally does not, you can SS the map on the other side, it doesn't matter. The point differential is just so big that, like, there's nothing you can do at this point. So it is a hard situation to get into, but, I mean, honestly, keeping up pretty well. I think there's a world where a better, I guess, set 5 draft could have led to a cleaner point differential here for RyooYamada, because it's not the worst here. I mean, it's looking possible still, but yeah, at this point, I mean, this is just an exhibition.
Yep.
So
nice showcase, guys. Thanks for playing this. But yeah, unfortunately, it is going to be all for RyooYamada. Just not having the maps left for this 5th set. Whereas alfiu had a really, really solid map left in the Protect, very, very solid hidden one left. We'll never know if the DT3 was the better choice for RyooYamada, but I think given that he picked the Hard Rock one, probably the DT3 would not have been able to make up that 230,000 score lead from the hidden one either. And so alfiu, with wins on all 3 maps in the 5th set, is also going to take his own 3rd point, win set number 5, and win the match to move on to the round of 16, knocking RyooYamada out of LGA 2026.
Yeah, I mean, I think you get to a point, we'll say it again, I mean, this was seed 5 versus seed 28. I think at some point your back is going to be against the wall and there's not much you can do. But in his situation, I mean, RyooYamada did a hell of a lot more than I think the seed differential would indicate that one might. So definitely played very well still. Can walk away from this one quite happy, I think, despite the quite difficult match. And as this single with him until top 8, that does mean he's going to be walking away, and alfiu's going to be moving on to the round of 16 tomorrow. Well, maybe today, actually. This schedule gets a little bit wonky here because it's very condensed. We've got a couple stages all clumped up into the same weekend. I think alfiu is looking at playing tomorrow. Yeah, it's gonna be Sunday against Origin, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, that match at 19 UTC tomorrow. Of course, there's going to be matches basically all day tomorrow, starting at 11 UTC and going until 21 UTC once again. And that is also the case for today. So before we get into that next match, once again, a congratulations to alfiu on the 3-2 win over RyooYamada, and best of luck to RyooYamada next year in LGA 2027.